Going to do a general overview of our vehicle. We're looking to see if it's leaning to the left or to the right. If it's leaning to the left or to the right, it indicates a bad tire, broken suspension, or shifting our load. Now we're going to move to the front of our vehicle. We're going to check for leaks. If it was leaking, that'll indicate an oil leak or a coolant leak. Boom. Now let's move to the top of our vehicle. We're going to check our clearance lights. They're amber in color, prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Now let's move to our windshield. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. No illegal stickers blocking our view. Registration sticker up to date. There we have that right there. Now we're going to check our windshield wipers. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Windshield wipers free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and they're working properly. Now let's check this hood and this grille out. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Alright, now we're checking all our mirrors. They're all prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Clean and clear to my view. Still looking at this old grill right here. Now let's work our way down to our headlights. They're clear in color. They serve dual functions, low beam and high beam. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, and they're working properly. Moving on to the side marker lights. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, amber in color, working properly. Used for four-way flashes, turn signals. Now we're moving down to our bumper. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. Moving down to the license plate. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, up to date. Let's open this hood with a 3-point contact. Safety first. Walking on to our passenger side. We're going to start with our air filter. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any debris. Let's keep it moving. Moving on to our air compressor and our water pump. It's all prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking, and they both are gear driven. Gotta mention gear driven. Moving to our coolant reservoir. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, filled to the proper level, cap hand tight, not leaking. Checking our hoses. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. Clamps on both ends. Gotta mention the clamps, guys. Let's keep it moving. Our radiator is prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking. Moving to our fan blade, it's also prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, working properly. Check out our frame. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. Let's get ready to move to our driver's side. Pretty simple on that side. On this side, we got our windshield wiper reservoir. It's also prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Say the same thing about your brake fluid reservoir. Pretty simple. Cap hand tight, not leaking. Our air lines. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. Now we're going to talk about our oil cap and our dipstick. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. The way I check my oil, I'll pull my dipstick out, wipe it off, reinsert it, pull it back out, make sure it's filled to the proper level. Moving to our alternator and our AC compressor. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. It's working properly, and they both are belt driven. Equipped with a hot wire on the back. No bare spots on our wires. All nuts and bolts are present. The belt has no more than 3/4 inches of play, free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Let's keep it moving to our steering components. I got my steering shaft. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. No more than 10 degrees of play. Turn that boy like that and look at your U-joints. They're properly lubed. Keep it simple. Let's keep it moving. To our power steering reservoir, it's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Filled to the proper level, not leaking. Again, we have a hose. Free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Clamps on both ends. Not leaking. Our gearbox, it's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Working properly. Yeah, it's leaking, but don't mention that. Keep it moving. We got our pitman arm. Got our drag link. Moving on to our upper and lower control arms. You really can't see your lower control arm, but you know it's there. After that, we're going to move on to our tie rod. That's in the back. That ties both wheels together. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Free of any illegal welds. Held together with castle nuts and cotter pins. You gotta mention your castle nuts and cotter pins. They look like a castle. Can't miss those. Moving on to our suspension. We have our leaf spring hangers. We got one in the front, one in the back. Can't see the one in the back. We got our leaf springs. And next we'll have our U-bolts. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. Our leaf springs are properly in line. Separate that from your lower shock mount and your upper shock mount, and mention your shock is not leaking. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Not leaking. You got to mention not leaking on your shock. Let's keep it moving to our braking system. We got our brake line. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any leaks. Brake chamber is the same. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking. Equipped with a push rod, slack adjuster, and an S-cam. It has no more than 1 inch of play when the brakes are released. You got to mention no more than 1 inch of play when the brakes are released. Boom, pull that boy. Doesn't move. On the inside, we got our brake lines. No less than 1/4 inch of thickness, free of any oil, grease, or debris. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Now let's talk about our inner rim. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, free of any illegal welds. The tire has no abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. Properly beaded and seated to the rim. Your front tire have to be virgin tires, at least 4/32 of tread depth. Free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. The same goes with our outside of our tire, properly beaded and seated to our rim. Equipped with a metal valve stem and cap. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Our rim, the same thing you said about the inner rim, you're going to the outer rim. Now we're checking our lug nuts. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Free of any rust trails or metal shavings that indicate that they're loose. Same about our hub seal. Properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Filled to the proper level. Cap hand tight. Our card view of our pre-trip. We're going to talk about our door and our mirror. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Clean and clear to our view. Now we're going to move on to our door and our door latch. It's properly mounted secure, working properly. All nuts and bolts are present. Now let's talk about our door hinges. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Make sure you get a good look at those things right there while you're talking about it. Door hinges. Now we're going to talk about our door seal. Properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. A rubber seal is free of any abrasion, bubbles, or cuts. Now let's shut this door again. But before that, let's talk about our window. It's working properly. Properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. We'll shut the door. We'll move on to our side marker light. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, amber in color. Used for 4-way flashers and turn signals. Let's move down to our battery box. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Our battery is free of any corrosion and leaks. Now we're going to talk about our steps. Properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any debris. Mention all your steps so you don't have to repeat them. Now we're going to talk about our fuel tank. Oh, no, we're going to talk about our air tanks. Let's keep it flowing. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Our air tanks are not leaking. Now we're moving on to our fuel tank. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Equipped with fuel tank straps and a rubber seal or rubber gasket. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. After that, we're going to move on to our fuel cap. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Equipped with a rubber seal and a safety chain. We're going to open it up and show you what the safety chain and rubber seal looks like. But during testing, you don't have to open it up. No need to open it. Boom, let's put that thing back together. Keep it moving. Alright, let's get on the back of this vehicle. We're going to talk about our reflector tape. It's not on the test, but we're still going to talk about it. Make it seem like you know what you're talking about with trucks. It's DOT tape. Got to have that on every truck, along with our window. Properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, clean and clear. Now we're going to talk about our exhaust. Properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. No black soot to indicate that it's leaking. It's not that much on Part B. Part B will flow through real good. Now let's talk about our frame again. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. As you move on to Part B, it's going to be a whole lot easier than A. If you get Part B, do not fail. Now let's talk about our drive shaft. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, equipped with those U-joints, and they're properly lubed. No illegal welds. Now let's talk about our suspension. Same as the front, we have our leaf spring hangers. We have our leaf springs. And we have our U-bolts again. Our leaf springs are properly in line. Everything is properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. No illegal welds. And we're going to say the same thing about our shocks next. We got our lower shock mount. We got our upper shock mount, and we have our shock. Our shock is not leaking. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. After that, we're going to move on to our airbags. Our airbags are going to be properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Not leaking. Don't rush through the whole process. Let them hear what you're saying. Those will be your upper airbag mounts. Let's continue. Moving on to our braking system. Our air lines are properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking. Along with our brake chamber. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking. It's equipped with a push rod, slack adjuster, and an S-cam. Our brakes has no more than 1 inch of play when the brakes are released. Alright, let's talk about our brake pads now. They have at least a 1/4 inch, no less than a 1/4 inch of thickness, free of any oil, grease, or debris. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Alright, now we're going to move to our inside rim and inside tire. It's properly beaded and seated to our rim, free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Now, since they're dual tires, we're going to look between the dual tires, make sure there's no space, free of any debris. Just something you want to look at, want to call out. Our rear tires at least 2 30-seconds of tread depth, evenly worn. They don't have to be virgin tires on the rear. Our side of the tires are free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. Now we're going to talk about that inner rim again. Free of any illegal welds. Not too much you got to say about that. Now we're going to talk about our metal valve stem and cap. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking, filled to 110 psi. All our lug nuts again are properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. no rust trails. Same thing about our hub seal. Properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, filled to the proper level, not leaking. Now we're going to move to our mud flaps. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, at least 2 to 8 inches from the ground. We're wrapping this thing up, coming to the back of it. Next we're going to move to our tail lights. Our tail lights, red in color, prop mount secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present. Used for 4-way flashers, turn signals, and stopping. Same with that reverse light, clear in color. It's prop mount secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, working properly. That would conclude Card B. Let's move to our trailer. On the front of our trailer we got a bulkhead or a headboard, whatever you want to call it. It's prop mounted secure, not cracked into broken, free of any holes, all rivets are present. Trailer is the easiest thing. Do not make a mistake and fail this on your test. Moving on up to our clearance lights. They're amber in color, prop mounted secure, not cracked into broken, working properly. Now we're going to move down to our apron. Our apron is prop mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. The apron is going to be the smooth metal coming from the front. Make sure that never has any cracks or welds. Alright, let's keep moving to the side of our trailer. It's prop mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all rivets are present, no holes. Pretty simple. We're going to use our Vanna White hose while we're talking about this stuff. Now we're moving to our DOT tape. 50% of the trailer, that's all you have to say about it. 50% meaning it has a gap between every spacing. We're going to move on to our landing gear. We got our landing gear handle, our landing gear leg, and our landing gear foot. It's all properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present. Remember guys, these people are not mechanics. On your test, that trailer will be hooked to your truck, so don't think you have to disconnect it. Let's keep it moving. These are our trailer cross members or frame cross members. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, no illegal welds. Move to your floorboard, properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, no holes in your floorboard. Now we're going to move to our suspension. We got our leaf spring hangers. We got our leaf springs again. And we have our U-bolts. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. This particular trailer right here has no shocks or airbags, so you're going to mention no shocks or airbags to get your points. Now we're going to move on to our braking system. Our brake line is properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. After that, we're saying the same thing about our brake chamber we said earlier. Properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present, not leaking. Now let's keep it moving to our brake pads. Same as the other brake pads, no less than 1/4 inch thickness. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked into broken, all nuts and bolts are present. Our slack adjuster, push rod, and S-cam has no more than 1 inch of play when the brakes are released. More than likely, they're not going to be under the trailer with you, so you're just going to be talking. Make sure you talk loud and clear. Giving you guys a good look at what everything looks like. Again, that's your brake chamber, push rod, slack adjuster, and S-cam. That's a good look at your brake pads there. Like I said earlier, no less than 1/4 inch thickness, free of any oil, grease, or debris. Our tires are properly beaded and seated to our rim. No abrasions, bubbles, or cuts. Back to our dual tires again, free of any debris between. Proper spacing between both tires. Now we're going to move to the outside of our tire. They're evenly worn. Our back tires are also at least no less than 2 seconds of tread depth. Evenly worn. Free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. Along with the outside of our tire. Free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. They're also filled to at least 100 psi. Properly beaded and seated to our rim. Our rim is free of any illegal welds. And we're going to move to our metal valve stem again. But now we're going to talk about our lug nuts. They're all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. No metal shavings or rust trail to indicate that they're loose. That metal valve stem holds at least 100 psi. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, not leaking. Behind there we have our hub seal. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Filled to the proper level, not leaking. Still looking at our tire, properly beaded and seated to our rim. We're going to get out of there, get a good look at our side marker light. Red in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Moving to the rear of our trailer, we're going to talk about our clearance lights up top. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, working properly. Moving down to our door and our door latch. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present in a locked position. Start moving down to our license plate light, clear in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, working properly. Our license plate, properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. No debris blocking our numbers. Our DOT bumper is properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, free of any illegal welds. DOT tape 100% of our bumper. Make sure you mention your DOT tape 100% of your bumper. No illegal welds. Wrapping this thing up, moving to our mud flaps. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, at least 2 to 8 inches from the ground. Coming to our final stretch to get our CDL. All we're going to say now, I will do this. Oh, hold on. Can't forget about our tail lights. Red in color, properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. Used for four-way flashers, turn signals, and stop lights. Only thing we're going to say about our passenger side of the trailer, I will do the same thing I did on my driver's side and my passenger side. That will complete car C. Our next section will be our couplings. Couplings comes after every card. Card A, B, and C. You always have to come back and do your couplings. Starting from my truck to my trailer, we have our emergency line and our service line. Red will be emergency, blue will be service. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, free of any abrasion, bubbles, or cuts, not leaking. Proper height from the frame. Now we have our glad hands. Emergency glad hand, service glad hand. They're properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present. The rubber seal on the inside is free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, and not leaking. We also have our 7-point electrical plug, or pigtail. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, free of any abrasions, bubbles, or cuts, no bare spots on the wires, in a locked position. Proper height from the frame. Next we'll be moving to our fifth wheel area. We have our stationary platform. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, all nuts and bolts are present, free of any illegal welds. We also have our pivot pin. We also have our release arm in the lock position and our release arm handle. We also have our fifth wheel, or skid plate. It's all properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, all nuts and bolts are present, properly glued, zero gap between our apron and our fifth wheel. On the inside, we have our locking jaw locked around our kingpin. Everything is properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, all nuts and bolts are present, no illegal welds. Now we're going to start with our end cap inspection, starting with our fire extinguisher. It's properly mounted secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, up to date, and filled to the proper level. Moving on to the rest of our safety equipment, we're going to start with our seat belt. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. All nuts and bolts are present, and it works properly. Not frayed. Now we're going to talk about our 3 safety reflectors. They're all prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. They're all in place. Total of 3. Now we're going to move on to our spare fuses. Not too much to say about those. Now we're going to move to our window, starting from our left to our right. Just going to make sure it works properly. Gotta have exit. Now we're going to talk about our mirrors. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, clean and clear to our view. Moving to our windshield. It's prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. Registration sticker up to date, no illegal stickers blocking my view. Moving to our passenger mirror. Same thing you said about the first mirror. Prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken, clean and clear to my view. Now we're going to check our shifter if you're in a manual truck. Now we're going to do a safe start so we can talk about our light indicators and our gauges. Left turn signal works properly. Right turn signal works properly. Low beam and high beam and our 4-way flashers. Now we're going to talk about our gauges. We have our engine temperature on our oil pressure gauges. They're prop mount secure, not cracked, bent, or broken. They're working properly to engine specifications. We also have our RPM gauge. It's prop mount secure and it's working properly. At this point, you'll tap the RPM pedal. We have our speedometer. It's prop mount secure. It's working properly. We'll see that when we get to our driving test. We also have our fuel gauge. It's prop mount secure. It's working properly. Enough fuel to complete the test. We have our air pressure gauges. They're working properly, filled up to at least 125 psi. Now we're going to talk about our windshield wipers. They're prop mount secure, working properly. Make sure you squirt the fluid out, push it up. Now we're going to check our steering wheel. Make sure it doesn't have no more than 2 inches of play. We're going to touch our air horn and our city horn. Now we're going to make sure our valves work properly. Now we're going to talk about our heater and our defrost. Make sure you turn the switches on. Make sure you check your defrost and your heater down below. Now you tell the examiner, now I'd like to proceed to my brake test. At this point, you'll turn the vehicle off, put the key in the accessory position, and push both brake valves in. You'll wait for 1 minute. You're not going to lose 3 psi with your foot off the brake. After that, you apply your foot to the brake. Wait for 1 minute. Tell the examiner you're not going to lose 4 psi in 1 minute. After 1 minute, you're going to do your pump down test. On that point, you're going to pump the brakes down. At 60 psi, you're going to let them know your low air warning light comes on. You're going to continue to pump. At 20 and 40, your brake valves should pop out. Wait till they pop out. Once they pop out, you're going to do a safe start, start your vehicle up, build your air pressure back up to 125 psi, get out, remove your chalk from your front tire. You might need to twist the tire to the left and to the right, as you'll see in the video. And you're just waiting for the brake valves to pop out. Here's the safe start I was telling you about. You build your air pressure up to 125. While it's building up, you'll get out and remove your chalk. Here's that wiggle I was talking about. Turn your tire to the left and to the right to remove that chalk. Get back in the vehicle and continue your test. Moving on to the tug test, where you're going to test your tractor brake and your trailer brake. It doesn't matter which one. Push one valve in, leave one out, put it in low gear. Let the tractor pull, show the brake works. Reverse the process, pull the other tractor brake out, push the other trailer brake in, put it in low gear, show that the brakes hold. From that point, next will be your service brake test, where you'll roll 5 miles per hour with your hand off the steering wheel, gently apply the brake, let the examiner know the steering wheel doesn't go to the left or to the right. Now that completes your brake test. It's not too bad. Make sure you get the vehicle to 5 miles per hour with your hand off the steering wheel. Once you do that, let the examiner know that completes your brake test. Good luck, guys.